motion to return to open session?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion authorizing the solicitor to take action as directed in executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Kraftcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Parzak?
Yes.
And Mr. Moore would like to say something.
Yes, I'd just like to take a minute and express my gratitude on behalf of the council to Mr. and Mrs., I believe it's pronounced Shatley, for their very generous donation of the boat that will be used by the police department.
Very nice indeed. Thank you.
Agree.
We'll now have the second public comment. Anyone wishing to address mayor and council may do so at this time by coming forward to the podium and stating your name and address for the record.
Hello, I'm Robin Casper, 8001 Second Avenue. And regarding last meeting about the foxes at the point, when I got home, it occurred to me that that's not even a bird sanctuary, and wildlife is being killed there. So I thought, well, what is happening at the bird sanctuary, if that's actually a bird sanctuary? And I'm asking, is the same treatment being done to the wildlife there too? Are they being trapped and killed?
Yes.
I find this unkind, to say the least. I understand the bird issue, but at the same time, there's a whole inhumane aspect to this equation. I had a thought today, and I wondered if somehow we could acquire some land offshore and call it the Stone Harbor Wildlife Refuge and relocate any animals that aren't welcome here to live happily there. Because I feel like this is so cruel to do to these animals that have such few places to go anyway, because we've built up this island and we're pushing them away, and even the places that are actually possible aren't even possible with our rules about these birds. And I love birds. I'm named after one. So I agree that everything needs care, but there's no care shown at all to these other animals.
You're not wrong. You did miss the discussion at the end of the work session, which once it's up online, you can see how the discussion went. And what we decided to do is we're going to be crafting a resolution and sending it to U.S. Fish and Wildlife, basically saying we're not happy with the way that this is happening, the predation control, and is there a better way? Is there a more humane trapping method? Can we look at relocation as it is outlined in the conservation plan? We're going to go back to Fish and Wildlife and have a conversation.
I did realize that there was discussion, because I did talk to the people here.
Okay.
However, I just thought I had this idea and I wanted to tell you, even if it is possibly not something you can do, but I wanted to.
It's just an idea that you had.
I wanted
what you
to
mean?
at least put it out there, and maybe it can happen. Maybe these rules can be changed, because are the people who are making these rules the ones who are setting the snare traps?
The regulations are coming from the federal government and the state government, so in essence, yes. One of the things that's interesting about the DEP guidelines is you can relocate within something like, I don't know, it's X amount of miles, but it's got to be within the same township or the same municipality. But when you're a tiny township like this, it gives you no options. But if you've 80 square miles, you've got some options. So our options are limited, so we're really, pigeonholed in what our options are, and that's based on the regulations as they are. I mean, maybe something needs to be changed as far as that, because every town's different in terms of square mileage, so we don't have any options. You got to release within your municipality, and it's got to be within, I want to say, 2 miles of where it was trapped. So we have no options to relocate. So you can't take it out of a municipality. You can't. So there's a, unless there's some kind of change, or you take it to state property. That's the only, what's the word I'm looking for, exception. To take it out of a municipality is if you take it to state property and the state authorizes it in one of their wildlife management areas. We're going to continue to have a conversation. I promise you that, Robin.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Mr. Bright.
I'm a visitor to our lovely town. I'll be really quick. There's a lot of misinformation, false information being spoken here, not by you, Mayor. It would be helpful if these agencies follow their own rules and guidelines that are written, specifically New Jersey DEP and the Borough Police. And I have a handout to give you later. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else who would like to address Mayor and Council?
Yes, Ron Soldano. I live in Ocean View, New Jersey. I sell real estate here for Long and Foster in Stone Harbor. A couple of points to echo Mr. Kraftcheck's position about the lack of humanity with regards to the foxes, and Robin's position as well. I just want to let you know that I'm parallel to those thoughts. Also on the recyclables, that's been ever going on now with this discussion. Several things come to mind. I don't own a business in town, so there's nothing tangible for me to gain by speaking about that. However, friends of mine own businesses or the recipients of these new rules and regulations, so there's an intrinsic reason why I'm speaking about that. 3 points come to mind with this new recyclable issue. First and foremost, it's the cost, which it's going to be borne by the owners of the businesses. Second thing is, and it really is bothersome to me, why hasn't the MUA come on board with this? If there's a mandate of this starting June 1st, with some exceptions, as we all know, why hasn't the MUA come on board prior to this with a composting facility? And how is that supposed to work several years down the line? Compostable materials, as most of us would probably know, only work under certain conditions, air and sunlight. So if the compostable materials get thrown into trash, it's covered up with other trash, it's not compostable. Does anybody know why the MUA has not come on board first? It almost seems like we're putting the cart before the horse. And I understand China's not buying our recyclables anymore. Something had to be done. Was it examined? Did anyone examine whether or not it's worth it to pay China to take the recyclables? I mean, we've had the benefit of them paying us for this for a long time. Now the tables have turned. They stopped taking the recyclables. I understand all of it, and I think everyone's in agreement we want to help the environment. That's how we make our living here. I'll open up the question.
Did you have any conversations with Lynn Crumbuck as far as any timeline on the MUA? What's their thoughts on all, because I know that she herself voiced the concerns.
She did, and we did express that we felt that they should be actively pursuing it, but I did not get any impression that they were.
So we're all kind of just trying to figure out, through the confusion of all of it, it almost seems, forgive me, it almost seems like hypocritical or a farce in a sense, where compostable material will be going into an environment that's not going to really work in the way everyone thinks it might work. but yet there's the mandate to have to comply, and we don't have an MUA that's on board.
But maybe it'll light the fire.
I'm sorry?
Maybe it will light the fire. This isn't something that other people in other communities have not done, and maybe it'll help them to step up quick.
One final point. Ocean City has a huge fox population. Has anybody looked into how they're dealing with that situation in that town? Has anyone?
I have not, but I mean, we could certainly make a call and see what they're doing.
I mean, I've seen them during the day. I don't know if that's normal or not. I don't know if they're starving. I've seen them walking the beach during the day in the midst of people. They don't seem to be afraid of people.
Yeah, they're, a lot of times, and what's happening now is because people feed them.
Yeah.
So they become less and less afraid of people.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Ocean City, but Brigantine, and that's been in the press quite a bit. They do have a large fox population there, and the DEP has been very aggressive and has been getting a lot of pushback from the residents because they have been trapping and killing them.
And they're trapping them as well.
Yeah.
The same type of traps we're speaking about.
I do not know what they're using, but based on our conversations, I would suspect so.
One final point, though, on the recyclables and composting. I think Longwood Gardens is utilizing an aggressive composting program. Perhaps it might not be a bad idea if we could get a group together to go up and actually find out how they're doing it and what they're doing, and just for our own knowledge and our own sake, and see what other communities are doing. This is all new to us now, so I'm open to it, so, you know. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Anyone else like to address Mayor and Council? Seeing no one, I will close public comment. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.